Under the blazing sun of Tanzania there is the endless savanna of Serengeti, where golden grass roams in the wind, and the horizon seems infinite. The dry season this year was especially hard. The waters dried up, and the harvest became rare. The animals that live here are struggling to survive, and even the strongest of them face challenges. In this harsh corner appeared a lion named Nia, and her little cub, barely 3 months old. They were newcomers to these lands, having come here after a long and exhausting journey through the scorched plains. Nia was strong and proud, but the long journey and lack of food had exhausted her. Her once brilliant golden hair faded, her ribs pierced under her skin, and her eyes lost their old fire. But despite her weakness, she continued to take care of her baby, who was totally dependent on her milk. It's been a week since Nia and her cubs settled on the outskirts of Serengeti. The hunt did not bring results. The antelopes and zebras were too fast, and Nia was too weak to catch them. Even the fall she hoped for did not get in the way. The baby that Nia affectionately called Kai was getting weaker and weaker, but his hungry screams made his mother find her last strength to lie down next to him and feed him. Every time Kai pressed herself against her, Nia felt her own life fading away, but the maternal instinct was stronger than hunger. The days passed, and Nia became weaker. Her steps were unsteady, her hair fell and her breath was broken. One morning, in the blazing sun she took a few steps, stumbled and collapsed on dry ground. Kai, not realizing what was going on, pointed at his mother, meowing and trying to wake her. He clawed at her with his paw, but Nia did not move. The sun rose higher and the heat increased the dehydration, threatening the life of the lion. Akim, a young ranger at the Serengeti Game Reserve, had been watching Nia and Kai for a week. He had spotted them at the edge of the reserve, wandering around in search of food. Each time he saw them, Nia looked more and more exhausted, and Kai became more and more frail. Akim knew that they were strangers to the area, unfamiliar with the local trails and prey habits. He worried that they might be easy targets for the hyenas or poachers who occasionally entered the reserve. That morning, when Akim set out on another patrol, he did not see the familiar silhouette of the lioness and her cub. His heart sank with foreboding. He radioed his colleagues, and they split up to search the area. Akim led his group by following faint paw prints in the dry ground. The heat was becoming unbearable. Sweat was pouring down the rangers' faces, but they kept going, driven by concern for the animals. After 40 minutes of searching, making their way through thorny bushes and tall grass, Akim noticed a motionless body ahead. It was Nia, lying on the ground, her sides barely rising from weak breathing. Nearby, Kai was desperately meowing, trying to wake up his mother. He circled around her, every now and then touching her muzzle with his small paw. Seeing this scene, Akim felt a lump in his throat, but he knew that he had to act quickly. Akim approached slowly, trying not to scare Kai. The cub, seeing the man, instinctively recoiled, his eyes full of fear, but he did not run away, as if protecting his mother. Akim knelt down, quietly speaking soothing words so that Kai would feel that there was no threat. The cub let out a weak growl, but its strength was running out and it made no attempt to attack. Akim approached Nia and placed a hand on her side. Her breathing was shallow, and her body was hot from dehydration. He quickly pulled out a medical kit from his backpack and prepared an injection of a nutrient solution that could give the lioness a chance. Carefully, so as not to cause pain, he injected the drug into her thigh. Then Akim turned to Kai, who was shivering nearby. From his backpack, he pulled out a bottle of milk formula, specially prepared for such occasions. Slowly holding out the bottle, he let Kai smell the milk. At first the cub hesitated, but hunger got the better of him, and he began to drink greedily. Akim's colleagues, standing nearby, watched the scene, wiping sweat from their forehead. To ensure that Nia would have something to eat when she woke up, Akim placed some of the fresh meat they had brought with them nearby. He moved to a safe distance, so as not to disturb Kai, and the entire team climbed into the jeep to watch from afar. About 15 minutes passed, and Nia began to show signs of life. Her eyelids fluttered, her breathing deepened, and she slowly raised her head. Kai, seeing the movement, jumped up and down happily, nuzzling his mother. He licked her paw, as if welcoming her back. Naya, still weak, caught the scent of meat and crawled towards it with difficulty. She bit into the first piece, swallowing greedily, but her eyes never left Kai, as if checking that he was safe. Akeem and his team breathed a sigh of relief as Naya came to life. They decided not to interfere further, so as not to disturb the natural course of events. The jeep drove away quietly, leaving the lioness and cub alone. As the car moved, Naya raised her head, and her eyes met Akeem's. There seemed to be gratitude in them. Back at the reserve headquarters, Akeem couldn't stop thinking about Naya and Kai. He understood that one intervention was not enough. The lioness needed time to regain her strength for independent hunting. He proposed a temporary support plan to the management. Bring a small amount of meat every day to help Naya get stronger. The plan was approved, and the next morning Akeem set off with a supply of food. Over the next 2 weeks, Akeem came to the area where Naya and Kai usually appeared every morning. He left the meat at a safe distance, and the lioness and cub happily accepted the help. With each passing day, Naya looked better. Her fur began to shine, her ribs became less visible, and her gait became more confident. Kai also became more animated, began to play, jump and practice his first hunting movements, imitating his mother. One day, on the 12th day, Akeem witnessed an important moment. Naya stalked a young gazelle through the tall grass. Her movements were precise, her eyes blazing with determination. Suddenly she lunged forward and after a short chase, brought down her prey. Her roar echoed across the savannah, and Kai ran up joyfully to share the meal. It was their first independent success, a sign that Naya had returned to her strength. Akeem, watching from afar, felt a warmth in his chest. He knew that Naya and Kai were no longer dependent on his help. That evening, when he parked the jeep nearby, Naya looked in his direction. She did not growl or run, but only flicked her tail slightly, as if acknowledging his presence. Kai, curious and no longer so timid, ran closer to the car, looking at Akeem with wide eyes. Soon Naya and Kai's story spread throughout the reserve. Rangers and volunteers marveled at how a mother and cub, on the brink of death, were able to survive thanks to human kindness. Naya and Kai became a symbol of hope and harmony between humans and nature. From that day on, Naya and Kai became permanent residents of the Serengeti. They learned to hunt, avoid danger, and find water. Akeem often saw them during patrols, and each time Naya, as if recognizing him, raised her head, and Kai playfully ran up to the jeep. Once, Kai even rubbed against the car's wheel, leaving a trace of his fur on it, which made Akeem smile. Akeem often took out his camera to capture these moments. Photos of Naya proudly walking next to Kai and Kai playing in the grass became his treasure. He shared them with colleagues, and soon these pictures became popular among the reserve's employees, reminding everyone of the power of compassion. Naya taught Kai to hunt, hide, and survive in the harsh conditions of the savannah. Kai grew strong and agile, and Akeem knew that he would become a worthy lion. Every time he saw them, he felt like he was part of their story. It was not only a story of rescue, but also a story of how a small act of kindness can change a destiny. A few months passed, and Naya and Kai had fully adapted to life in the Serengeti. They often appeared at the watering hole where other animals gathered, and their presence became a habit for the rangers. The story of their rescue inspired the reserve staff to new efforts to protect wildlife. Akeem initiated a program to monitor newly arrived animals in order to help those in trouble in time. Every morning, leaving for patrol, Akeem looked at the horizon and remembered the day he found Naya and Kai. He knew that their rescue was possible thanks to his intuition and the support of the team. This story became a legend in the Serengeti, reminding everyone that man and nature can go hand in hand if there is room for compassion in the heart. And every time Naya and Kai appeared on the horizon, Akeem felt that they remembered him too. Their looks, full of trust, were the best reward. In the endless savannah, under the blue sky of Africa, their story became a symbol of hope, love, and the unbreakable connection between all living beings. Friends, Thank you for taking the time to read this story. If it touched your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to support us. See you in the next stories about wildlife.